Hey people, it's Nayan's talking. Now, this I'd like to thank one of my subscribers. They mentioned to me about this group, and I realized I hadn't done a Black Diaspora video for quite a long time. So I went looking for sources, and this is the best I can do. But I will leave a whole bunch of other sources in the description so you can have a read through them yourselves. So this is from The Culture Trip, Papua New Guinea's most famous and fascinating tribes. Aside from the natural splendor, it is the cultural diversity of Papua New Guinea that is the country's biggest draw. The Melanesian nation is packed with an astounding mix of fascinating tribes and indigenous cultures. Culture Trip explores some of the most unique and famous tribes from around the country. The wealth of indigenous culture in Papua New Guinea truly sets it apart from other countries. Among the country's population of 7 million people, more than 850 languages are spoken, and there are more than 600 distinct tribes. Because many tribes were cut off from each other as well as the outside world, for hundreds of years, cultures and traditions vary greatly from region to region. Many of these indigenous people now don their traditional costumes and perform their ritual dances at PNG's famous cultural festivals. These include the Mount Hagen Show, founded in 1961 to unify the local tribes, and the Goroka Show, which draws hundreds of international visitors each year. But while the presence of these tribes at festivals, known as Sing Sings, mean we know more than ever about them, many of their customs and traditions remain shrouded in mystery. Read on to find more about PNG's fascinating and famous tribes. The Asaro Mudmen. The Mudmen of Asaro with their martial masks of clay are truly a surreal sight, The men from PNG's eastern highlands are known for their eerie clay masks. The grey headpieces can weigh up to 10 kilograms and are decorated with pig's teeth and shells. To complete the intentionally ghoulish costume, the men extend their fingers with bamboo, creating a Freddy Krueger-style claw. The Asaro Mudmen are uniquely photogenic in their otherworldly costumes, says David McGuinness, founder and director of Travel the Unknown. They reenact an Asaro legend in which a small group of Asaro tribesmen and women scare away a bigger tribe. By dressing up in such costumes and doing the dance they now often recreate, the larger tribes believed that they were the dead come back to life, a surefire way to scare away superstitious highland tribesmen. If you visit an Asaro village, they will be happy to reenact the whole dance with fire, chanting, and clicking of those eerie claws. The Huli Wigmen. Huli Wigmen create incredible headdresses using their own hair. Hailing from Tari in PNG's southern highlands, the Huli Wigmen create spectacular headdresses from their own hair. It's a coming-of-age tradition for boys to be sent to the forest for months at a time to grow their hair. They live in a men's house in the jungle with the tribe's elders. The elder gives them stories and they treat their hair with traditional medicine, says Dylan Doiki, a filmmaker from Goroko in the Highlands. Once it grows bigger, they cut their hair and they make headdresses from it. Once they come out from the houseman, they dress them up with their wigs and do a traditional dance. There is a big feast and the community is told that these boys are now men. They are ready to have a family, a wife, and a garden. And I just want to just stop for a second. Now, remember I made those videos, Traditions for Tiwanians. So for those people who I've talked about, who have watched those or haven't, I would suggest going to that, Traditions for Tiwanians. I'll put that in the pinned comments so you can have a look at those as well. Anyway, the spectacular wigs are decorated with feathers and ochre, and they smear their faces in yellow clay. The Huli Wigmen are a regular feature at the annual Goroka Cultural Show in September. The Crocodile Men of Sepik region. Young men in the Sepik River area of Papua New Guinea have the skin on their backs cut in a ceremony to initiate their manhood. And I think this is very interesting because it relates to things that we see black nations do in Africa. You see, the Yorubas, they do that, they do facial scarring, and tribes in Sudan and South Sudan do this to their bodies as well. I'm sure there's plenty of other groups, but those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. There is a big cultural overlap between black nations all across the world. Never let the distances or the languages convince you otherwise. The crocodile men of the Sepik region are famous for their intricate body patterns. These are cut into the skin to resemble the hide of a crocodile, an animal revered by people in this province as it is believed to symbolize strength, power, and manhood. Young men in the tribes of the Sepik region go through a brutal initiation ceremony to mark the skin on their backs and shoulders. When a young man comes of age, he is ceremonially taken from his mother, who resists, screaming and wailing, and brought to a spirit house, explains McGuinness. At this holy men only abode, they have tiny cuts made in their skin, which are allowed to heal, then worried again in a process that takes months and leaves the famous crocodile pattern scarring all over their bodies. The men chew betel nut, which acts as a mild stimulant to help ease the pain during the grueling process. And this is another thing. Like I said, I talked about rituals for manhood in my traditions for Tiwanians, my Black American tradition videos. And this is another interesting idea, the idea of ritual scarring to mark the boy becoming a man. It's fascinating what happens when you understand different black cultures. Oro's tattooed women. In the Oro province, young women are given face tattoos when they come of age. Oro province in the southern PNG is famed for its beautiful tapa cloth designs. Each clan owns the rights to their specific designs, and these intricate patterns are also emulated in facial tattoos of women from the province. In the Papuan region of Oro province, the Orokava speakers on the north coast make it wear tapa cloth, beaten and stained by the bark of the mulberry tree, which is a very distinctive element in their culture, as is their face tattooing, says British filmmaker Steve Ramsden, who was born in PNG. Young women are given tattoos when they become of age, usually between the ages of 14 and 18, and the markings signify they are ready for marriage. The craft is passed down through generations. Female elders take the girl into their care for up to 2 months and use a thorn to pierce the skin, dyeing the cuts with a mix of charcoal and water. Baning dances in the Star Mountains are famed for their fire dance. The fire dance performed by the Baning people is perhaps one of the most famous displays in PNG. The Baning people live in the mountain forests of East New Britain province, on the second largest of PNG's 600 islands, about an hour drive from the town of Kokopo. Their unique tradition sees young men paint their skin white and don elaborate masks with painted spiraling eyes and large lips. They wear the giant bamboo and bark masks while dancing among the flames of a roaring fire. The elaborate ritual is performed by the spirit men of the tribe and is performed to mark births and deaths. It is also said to be an initiation ceremony to welcome young men into adulthood. The Chimbu Skeleton Tribe. The Chimbu Skeleton Tribe paint their bodies to resemble the dead. The isolated Chimbu or Simbu tribe live in PNG's highland region and are famous for their skeleton dance. Young men paint their bodies black with white bones to resemble the dead. Not much is known about the Chimbu tribe, who first made contact with the Western world in 1934, but it's clear that their dance is intended to intimidate their enemies. The highland region is a spot for flare-ups of tribal disputes, and individual groups adopted unique tactics to scare away rival tribes. Little is really known about the Chimbu, who have tended to live in remote settlements rather than villages, though the dance can be seen in some villages where boys are painted to look like skeletons and move in a sort of death shuffle, says McGuinness. Their languorous zombie-like motion is clearly meant to represent the dead, a tactic not dissimilar to the Asaro, and clearly effective in a region where respect and fear of the dead go hand in hand. The Suli Muli dances. Mount Hagen Sing Festival introduced many of these customs to the wider world. Adorned with giant headdresses made of moss and their bodies smeared in different colored soil and clay, the Suli Muli dances are an impressive sight. The tribe gets its name from the song lyrics to their traditional dance. They shout Suli Muli to the beat of kundu drums as they rhythmically move through the performance. Enga province is their home, and they're often seen performing at the Enga Cultural Show held in August each year at Wabag. Like the Huli Wigmen, their ornate headdresses can be made from human hair, but moss, plant fibers, feathers, and different colored leaves are also used to give them body and as decoration. Their black face paint and bare chests are also a key part of their traditional dress. Oh, and this is about the actual culture trip site. So I'll leave that in the description. You can read this website, this information yourself. So anyway, I'm going to try and put pictures of these groups in the video if I can. If not, I apologize. But anyway, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.